Om Tat Sat. My humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, to my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji Maharaj, to sage Narada and all other sages and saints, and to each of you divine soul watching today's satsang. So today we will be covering Sutra number 47 from the Narada Bhakti Sutras, chapter 2, Glory of Supreme Devotion. Commentaries by my Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji Maharaj, and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So let's get started. Sutra 47, chapter 2. Yo viviktasthanam sevate yo lokabandham unmulayati nistraigunyo bhavati yogakshemam tyajati. Again, yo viviktasthanam sevate yo lokabandham unmulayati nistraigunyo bhavati yogakshemam tyajati. Again, this is a profound sutra which we will be covering in two parts. So the meaning of this sutra is: he who crosses Maya, who resorts to a solitary place, roots out the bondage of the world, rises beyond the three gunas, and renounces his concern for obtaining objects and preserving them. So the explanation, there are very specific words that Sage Narada has used for us to introspect, because this sutra is for serious aspirants who are trying to walk on the path of Parabhakti and eventually attain self-realization or liberation. So Sage says, Viviktasthanam, which means taking resource to a solitary place. An aspirant should not take this sutra literally and spend his life in absolute seclusion, far away from all human beings. That is not the point here. From a practical point of view, however, an aspirant cannot practice profound meditation in a noisy place or in a family where there are a lot of members and a lot of chit-chat and noise. So you do need to create your own solitary place. That's within you. You waking up early in the morning during Brahma Muhurta when everybody else is sleeping, and then creating your sadhana practice. So it is for us to be living where we are. We don't have to leave and go to solitary places and mountains and stuff. We can be where we are, but solitary means being by yourself and not being distracted by noises and clutter of the world. So we should use our best judgment and do what's possible to increase our spiritual sadhana. And the other thing that a sadhak needs to do is attend as much satsanga as possible. Seclusion should be a means to satsanga. That is very important. It's not just you being by yourself with no distraction, but you being in holy association. So if a person is all by himself, but he places himself under the sway of a negative mind while he is in seclusion, he is not in satsanga. Actually, he is in kusanga or evil association, even though he is by himself. So it's very important we understand these subtle meanings. A seclusion where no satsanga is available, where no spirituality or influence beckons one's thoughts to the height of spiritual sublimity, is not solitary place enjoined by this sutra. So that's not, again, what the intent is. Intent is to be peaceful, happy, and having the time to oneself. From an advanced point of view, an aspirant must discover that the self is ever alone, independent of all relationships, free of clamorous desires, without localization of the world of time and space, and therefore without home or property. The self, as we always remind ourselves, is we come alone, we go alone, and everything we do is for the sake of the self. So when this truth is realized, no matter where one is, he will continue to develop the awareness of being free of all limitations and thus be in solitude at all times. So that's what that particular meaning meant of Vivikta Sthanam. Then it is Lok Bandha Unmulan. And he's saying rooting out the bondage of the world process. That's where the effort is. The root has to be removed. By promoting the currents of raga and dvesha, we have these dual enemies or obstacles of attachment and hatred, and that intensifies the bondage of our karmic entanglements. Anger, greed, passion, jealousy, pride, all these are, and so many other impurities. They are impurities of the mind, and these create attachment and hatred, and they are like fetters that bind the soul to the world process. These are the things that make the bird that is free, has wings, it can fly, but now it has been caught and put in a cage. So therefore it becomes restricted. We do the same thing because we don't know the potential of the soul. Therefore we just keep it only to the world process and thus are bound. By the practice of spiritual disciplines and the experience of increasing love of God, a devotee first brings these impurities to a thinned out state or an attenuated state, and then with the fire of divine love he burns them to ashes. So that is where the effort lies, in increasing our spiritual sadhana, and then secondly to attack attachment and hatred by understanding that the world is transient. So this is Swami Nikhilananda, and we will be covering the same sutra, sutra number 47, tomorrow, and we will be concluding it and moving on to the next sutra. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Om Tat Sat.